A helicopter circles above a remote village somewhere in South America. On the ground, several armored vehicles and motorbikes drive through the dusty roads, carrying a group of heavily armed officers. Their mission is clear: raid a suspected cartel safe house. When they arrive, the officers quickly spread out and take defensive positions around the building. The cars pull into formation, blocking the exits as one of the officers uses a loudspeaker, demanding that everyone inside come out with their hands up. For a moment, there's silence. Then, instead of a response, loud music starts blasting from the building. The officers exchange confused looks, realizing something is wrong. Seconds later, a rocket flies out of one of the windows, hitting a patrol car and sending it up in flames. The area erupts into chaos as gunfire breaks out from both sides. Santiago Garcia, known to his team as Pope, is in charge of the operation. He orders his team to hold their positions while he moves in from the side. He sneaks into a nearby building to get a better angle, sets up a launcher, and fires a round straight into the cartel house. The explosion tears through the walls, bringing the gunfire to an abrupt stop. When the smoke clears, the remaining officers regroup, checking for survivors and securing the area. When Pope steps inside, his eyes briefly meet those of a woman standing in the corner, someone he seems to recognize. The rest of the team begins questioning the captured gang members, demanding information about their boss, Lorea, a drug lord they've been tracking for years. Most of them stay silent, but one finally speaks up. He claims Lorea is hiding deep in the jungle, keeping all his money there because he doesn't trust banks. The officers exchange doubtful looks, assuming it's just another lie. As they start loading the prisoners into the police trucks, the same woman suddenly takes off running. Pope reacts instantly and goes after her. Motorbike cops join in, following his lead, but Pope quickly diverts them, giving false directions to give her a head start. The chase cuts through tight alleyways and crumbling staircases. Pope struggles to keep up. She clearly knows the area better than he does. After a few minutes, she slips away and vanishes after jumping off a building. Breathing heavily, he radios the team, admitting he lost her. A few minutes later, he hails a passing cab across town to a rough-looking neighborhood. When he gets there, he hides his vest and untucks his shirt to cover his holstered gun. Inside one of the rundown apartments, he finds the same woman waiting for him. It turns out the woman is Pope's informant. He immediately questions why she was at the raid, especially since he warned her to stay clear of it. She explains that her younger brother was inside, and she went there to get him out. But she didn't make it in time. He was among those arrested. She pleads with Pope to help her, clearly worried about what might happen to her brother. As they talk, she admits something big. She's been promoted recently, climbing higher in the cartel, and now she knows exactly where Lorea is hiding. Since her recent promotion within the cartel, she's been moving money directly for Lorea himself, transporting van loads of cash straight to his hideout deep in the jungle, which is heavily guarded. She also reveals he's got half the police force in his pocket, the reason he's never been caught all those years. Judging from the way they talk, it's clear their relationship is far deeper than just informant and handler. The scene then cuts to William Ironhead Miller, a former Special Forces Sergeant Major. Since leaving the service, he's been trying to help others make that same transition, giving motivational talks to young recruits about life after combat. After his speech, Pope approaches him with a quiet proposal: help him take down Lorea. Ironhead listens carefully, skeptical but intrigued. He tells Pope, "If you can get Redfly in, I'm in." We then cut to Tom Redfly Davis, another former Special Forces captain. Retirement hasn't been kind to him. He's divorced, struggling to make ends meet as a real estate agent, and drifting farther away from his teenage daughter. When Pope shows up, he doesn't seem interested until he hears about the payout. Pope explains that the agency supposedly authorized the raid, and each man would earn $17,000 for the job. Redfly says he'll think about it. They plan to meet again at Ben's boxing match. Ben, another old teammate, now trains fighters for a living. Before the match begins, the group runs into Catfish, their former pilot. He is also skeptical about the proposal and also reveals he can't help because he was caught smuggling coke and his license has been revoked. But Pope tells him it won't be a problem. During the match, all the men are finally together again. Older, rougher, but still bonded by years of service. They agree to talk more after a bit of reconnaissance. A few days later, they head deep into the jungle to scout Lorea's compound. They park far from the main road and hike through the dense forest until the house comes into view. They spot guards, trucks, and what looks like Lorea's family. Some of them hesitate, clearly uneasy about the idea of raiding a family home. But Pope reassures them. Every Sunday morning, Lorea's family leaves for church under heavy guard. That's when they'll strike. No civilians, minimal resistance. Meanwhile, Giovanna, Pope's informant, continues her usual routine, delivering a truckload of cash to Lorea's estate. Hidden inside her bag is a small phone quietly recording the entire layout of the compound. Later, the men meet at a bar to finalize the plan. Over drinks, they press Pope about the agency he mentioned earlier. Did he really get official approval? Pope admits the truth. He lied. There was no agency sign-off. After retiring and working with the police, he spent the last 3 years trying to bring down Lorea on his own. He never caught him because Lorea has corrupt officers in his pocket. With quiet intensity, Pope says he believes the 5 of them, with their skills, can do this themselves. The room goes tense. The others feel betrayed, not just by the lie, but by the idea that they've been dragged into something illegal. Pope points out why he asked them. Redfly has been shot multiple times during his service and is barely keeping his life together. Catfish was the best pilot in their unit, but lost his license after getting caught smuggling, and Ben is barely making ends meet as a trainer. The reality is clear. None of them are doing well after leaving the service. On their way home, the group asks Redfly about their chances of actually pulling it off if they tried. He explains that even if they go through with it, they'd need to fill all the holes. Acquiring the footage from Giovanna and making sure it's clean and not a trap. Securing an extra van to carry the cash, in case the family brings the truck inside for church. And arranging a helicopter for extraction. Otherwise, they'll risk being trapped in the jungle and killed on the road out. Pope meets Giovanna privately to get the phone. She agrees to sneak the van in, but not without conditions. She wants her brother freed from jail and a guaranteed way out of the country for both of them, because Lorea's men will definitely come after her. Pope accepts the terms. The group meets again to review the footage, and after confirming it's clean, most of them sign on. Redfly is still skeptical, but the math on his finances is clear. He's burning through his pension, and even after working multiple jobs, he can't care for his little girl. What he stands to gain eventually tips him toward saying yes. They agree on one hard rule. No civilians die. The mission is strictly to kill Lorea and take the money. If the family doesn't leave for church, or if anything looks off, they abort and walk away. He points out the fact that they'll be breaking the oaths they took if they go on the plan, so everyone is offered a chance to back out if they have any second thoughts. And after Ironhead confirms he can get a pilot lined up, provided they have the cash, the plan is set. It's showtime. They wait in the rainy jungle until the family finally leaves for church, escorted by a convoy of guards. As the cars pull away, everyone breathes a little easier. Lorea isn't with them, which means their target is still inside, and the compound is light on security. Giovanna arrives in the extra truck and, with a quick bit of persuasion, convinces a guard to let her through. She parks the van inside the compound and slips away. With everything in position, the team moves. They take the guards out one by one, tying them up and hiding the bodies. For a while, everything goes according to plan. Then one guard appears unexpectedly, and they're forced to shoot him in the leg to stop him from raising the alarm. The noise alerts Lorea, but the team still has the numerical advantage. They sweep the house, clearing rooms and checking corners. At first, there's no sign of Lorea or the money. The men begin to fear they've been set up. Maybe Giovanna handed them a fake lead. As they start making exit plans, Pope remembers something. The house itself is the safe. He starts smashing through a wall and, sure enough, finds stacks of cash hidden inside. Wall after wall is full of money. The whole place is a vault.
Jesus Christ.
Help us! Come on!
They fill bags, run them out to the van, and make several trips. The truck fills fast, but time is against them. As they prepare for one last run, Redfly pries open another wall, wanting more, but they can't risk staying. Pope insists on one last sweep for Lorea. They agree, then they'll burn the house and disappear. While they pour gasoline and search, Lorea suddenly appears from behind a closet and opens fire. Shots ring out. They hit him. Pope ends it, but not before Ironhead takes a wound. It isn't immediately fatal, but it's bad enough that they have to stop and strap him up. The first wave of guards is already closing in at the gate. Pope says they should grab a bag each and run for the jungle, but Redfly refuses. They can't drag an injured man through the jungle, and they can't abandon the cash. Rules are thrown out the window. They spread out, fighting their way to the van. They take down the approaching guards and also the ones they'd tied earlier. They set the house on fire and keep fighting as they move. They reach the van, pile in, and drive through the compound, passing by the family's car waiting outside. But there's no time for hesitation. They speed away, leaving the burning house behind and heading for the small airfield nearby, where Giovanna and her brother are already waiting. Ironhead's contact soon arrives with the helicopter, and the team wastes no time loading up the bags. But Catfish quickly notices a problem: the sheer weight. The money totals over 6,000 pounds, roughly $250 million, far more than they had planned for, and they still have to fly over the Andes. At that altitude, carrying that much could cause the chopper to fail midair. Redfly insists they'll make it. Against Catfish's better judgment, they haul all the money on board. Before leaving, they drop Giovanna and her brother at a safe location. Pope hands them 2 full bags and fake passports, urging them to leave the country immediately. Giovanna warns them that the money isn't just Lorea's. Over 70 million likely belongs to people higher up in the chain.
It's not just Lorea's money in there. A lot more people are going to come looking after you.
As they lift off, Redfly voices his concern. Giovanna is a loose end, and leaving her alive could come back to haunt them.
That's one you wouldn't come back from.
They press on toward the Andes, following their escape plan. Fly over the mountains and cross the border by boat. A long route meant to get them far from the raid site. But as they climb, the helicopter begins to rattle violently. The engines strain under the load. They're too heavy. Catfish shouts that they'll crash if they don't lighten the weight, and the group reluctantly starts tossing out bags of money into the jungle below. The lighter load gives them a small boost, just enough to reach the ridge. Sunlight breaks through the clouds, the ocean glimmering in the distance. But just as relief settles in, the gearbox blows. The helicopter jolts, alarms blaring. They're losing altitude fast. Catfish turns the chopper around, remembering a small farmland they'd passed earlier. Their only shot at survival.
Lose the money, or we're all gonna die!
But the external hook carrying the money won't release. Ben climbs down to unhook it manually, dangling dangerously beneath the helicopter. Seconds before impact, he jumps. Catfish spins the chopper sideways, managing to soften the crash. The impact is brutal, but somehow they all survive. As the dust settles from the crash, a group of farmers appears, digging through the scattered money net. Redfly quickly realizes what they've stumbled onto: a coke farm. He orders Ben and Catfish to take up positions on higher ground in case things go south. Pope and Redfly hide their weapons and walk toward the men, trying to play it cool. At first it's calm, just small talk between strangers. But soon the tension builds. The farmers grow suspicious, and one of them suddenly reaches for something. Redfly panics and opens fire, killing several of them in the chaos. Pope immediately steps in to contain the situation, approaching the elder among the group. He offers money as compensation for the family and buys mules to carry their load. They set off through the dense jungle, moving carefully to avoid detection. The journey is brutal. They wade through deep rivers, trek across rocky terrain, and camp in the freezing cold. They can't risk lighting a fire, afraid the smoke will give them away. Days later, they reach the edge of a steep cliff. While navigating down, one of the mules slips, tumbling over the edge along with all the bags it was carrying. Tension flares immediately. Tempers rise and the group starts arguing, each blaming the other for the loss. Catfish steps in and manages to calm everyone down, and they continue the descent. By the time they reach the bottom of the mountain, exhaustion has set in. They haul the remaining bags up the cliff and let go of the rest of the mules. That night, they set up camp on the ridge. The next morning, just as they start lowering the money down, gunfire erupts from above. They scatter for cover. Redfly spots a figure in the distance and takes him out with a single shot. The group exhales in relief, thinking it's over, but it's not. Out of nowhere, another man climbs up the cliff from behind, and the worst happens. He drops instantly. The team freezes, stunned. Their leader, gone. Anger boils over between Ironhead and his brother. The argument turns physical until Pope steps in, forcing them apart. He explains that the shooter was a man from the farm. He'd been tracking them for days, waiting for his chance at revenge. They wrap Redfly's body in a tarp and continue down the mountain, carrying both him and what's left of the money. 5 days have passed since the crash. They can't be sure if their boat contact is still waiting at the shore. Ben volunteers to go. He grabs his weapon, leaves his pack behind, and hikes down toward the town to check if the man is still there. Ben returns the next day carrying both good and bad news. Their boat contact is still waiting. That's the good part. But word about Lorea's death has already spread, and now an entire army is searching for them. Realizing they can't take everything, they set their priorities straight. Not wanting to leave Redfly behind, They pack whatever money they can carry and toss the rest into a deep crack in the mountains, never to be seen again. They move at night, hoping to avoid detection. Ben heads out first to make sure the boat contact doesn't leave, but luck isn't on their side. They're soon spotted, but it's just a teenager. They try to talk him down, but he radios their location, blowing their cover. They grab his car and speed off, triggering a high-speed chase that stretches all the way to dawn. When they finally reach the shore, the enemy vehicles are right behind them. Ben races toward them in a small boat. With no other choice, they drive straight into the water, dragging Redfly's body with them. They swim to the boat, climb aboard, and escape out to sea. At the offshore location, they count what's left. Barely $5 million, split 5 ways, that's $1 million each. Mere pennies compared to the $250 million they once held. But guilt weighs heavy. One by one, each man signs away his share to Redfly's family, leaving with nothing. They part ways quietly. Before leaving, Ironhead hands Pope a folded slip of paper, a set of coordinates.